Good day, guys. Welcome back. Tech tip. Just thought of something. We did some work on this bike just the other day, and unfortunately developed an additional leak, and it turns out to be on the coolant side. Super amazing customer, really nice gentleman, but he fell for the pitfall of trying to help. And when he went in there to take a peek and look around and do some cursory work, whatever it is, he broke a bolt, and then I had to take it all apart again to correct that. My advice to people, and this is super important, if you're going to get work done, go to a shop, and for any reason there's a question in hand about the workmanship that was done, my advice to you is always give the service provider an opportunity to take a quick look at it and deduce and solve your problem. Because if you immediately get bent out of shape or are upset about feeling as though you got let down, you go somewhere else and you don't let them have that look. I know personally, if you were to go take my job to another shop and then send me a bill, I wouldn't be paying it. There's an etiquette to this, and mistakes happen. And the golden rule about service is easy when everything goes great. But the true definition of a service provider is when something goes wrong, do they still solve the problem in such a way that is ethical, no additional cost to you, and that you leave happy? Because that's really hard to do sometimes. But my advice to you is always let the mechanic look at it, because it may not be what you think it is. In my experience, I've had a lot of people call me back saying, you've made a big mistake and you've messed up my bike or whatever it is. And it turns out it was something unrelated, or it was not intentional, or it was literally not even what you thought it was. In this case, he thought there was an oil leak, and it turned out to be coolant, and it was an O-ring that we didn't come here to replace in the first place and didn't have with us. I would have, at the same time, given the gentleman a consideration when I got the O-ring, put it in and charged him less labor, or wiped our call-out fee, because that's on me, because I want to do a good job for my customers. Anyway, remember that. Whenever you get your hands in there, I come back and I look at your bike and it's half apart, I'm going to be asking myself questions. I go, was it actually my fault? I don't know. And it's harder that way. It gets muddy. So my advice to you is always give your service provider an opportunity to try and make it right. They may not, but you at least give them that chance, because you'll be surprised. There's nothing better than having that over someone's head that they need to do better, and then you'll make a better relationship with your service provider. And again, it's about building a relationship and building trust. If the person is unwilling to make you happy, unwilling to build that trust with you, fine, go ahead, flame on, do it. But always give them a chance to come take a look. This could have been a really easy fix. Unfortunately, I had to pull it all apart again and replace that broken bolt. Okay, there you go. Okay, we're in search of the elusive Snap-on driver, an absolute legend of a man. Let's go see Tobin. Okay, all jokes aside, yes, coming onto a Snap-on truck is consensual. I'll tell a little story in a moment about how I ended up falling in love with Snap-on tools. But what makes it even better is when your Snap-on rep is as cool as this guy is.
I'm not going to deny that.
Yeah, and we will travel way outside of our region to his region just to come and see him. But at any rate, Snap-on tools is something, if you're a professional, it's a no-brainer. They are that much better. And the way this man takes care of us is like beyond all measure. Anyway, you come into this truck and it's just like loaded with candy and neat stuff and toys and solutions to problems. And often I've gone, are you sure I need this? And then later I'm doing a job and that nasty bolt that just sheared off comes back out magically, and I go, worth every penny. And then you show up with something that you may have overused, and no questions asked, he takes care of it. So if you want to work like a professional, you should have professional tools, and it's something that, again, in the story I'm telling, you'll figure it out. But anyway, we're here with Tobin, magic truck. Our entire equipment list is all Snap-on our truck, and this is the reason why. So Snap-on tools. I had a friend and he came to work for me in 2009. Little did I know he was job interviewing me for about 3 years. He'd drop in every once in a while and hang out at my bench and pass me tools, and we would tell stories. And then one day he said, "Hey, I think I'll work for you." And I'm like, that's the longest job interview I've ever reversed job interview. Anyway, George and I worked together for about 6 months, and every day was a joy. We would swap stories, etc. And I told him of my plan to build a Mutant KLR and put a 650 twin in it. He thought it was a brilliant idea. He said, Kawasaki 650 engine and a 650 chassis with double the horsepower? Hell, you gotta do that. We spent a weekend together, and unfortunately on the Monday he left work and was killed in a horrible motorcycle accident, and I never saw him again. But I decided to go ahead with that project and build a bike I would eventually name after him. His middle name was Rio, so I called it Super Rio. And to build that bike, I asked his family if it would be cool for me to use his tools. And he was a big fan and proponent of professional tools because he was a professional mechanic and had been working in the bike industry in the 80s. And I built my bike with his Snap-on tools. In the process of doing that, I discovered there's a difference. If you look at anything, if you want to be better at it, you need to have the right tool for the job. It needs to be a precision tool. It needs to work effectively. It must not round off bolts. It must not break. It must not do all those horrible things. And strangely, as I was finishing building the bike, I met another gentleman, and he walked into my store one day, and we immediately hit it off. He was a motorcyclist as well. He was also my new Snap-on rep. And Craig, being the amazing salesman that he was, he had me pre-authorized on his truck in 10 minutes for $10,000. And that's about exactly what I needed to replace all the tools that I was going to return to George's son, Ollie. And that's how my relationship with Snap-on Tools began. Doing track days with Craig, having him come by the shop and help me diagnose bike issues. And although he took a promotion, which I recommended he didn't take, but he moved to Alberta, and I lost my Snap-on rep. My next couple were real, unfortunately, somewhat disappointing. And then we were lucky to meet Tobin. And Tobin is an amazing guy. And as you saw in the video a moment ago, hell of a smile. And the one thing I always enjoyed was every time he came in on Tuesday, on time, almost to the minute, every time was, "What can I do for you?" And he would always take care of me as if he wasn't making the sale. But inherently, as all addicts are, I made sure that I was spending at least $250 a paycheck, increasing my inventory of tools, securing that relationship with my Snap-on rep. Anyway, so that's my story of Snap-on Tools. I still use them. As you'll see, my truck is tire machine, lift, and 3 boxes back there full. And yeah, I bought into it. I drank the Kool-Aid, but I have to say that I have no regrets. And I'm going to throw a little clip where I have to do an extraction on a totally destroyed frame bolt. And between you, me, and the fence post, 5 minutes. Wow, and that's how you get it done. Alright, thanks for following along on these tech tips. This has been interesting for me. A friend said it would be really cool. I'm getting a really great feedback on it. Please shoot your comments down below if there's something you're interested in hearing about or talking about. I think the next video we're going to talk about how motorcycling is completely counterintuitive, including tires you use, suspension, and stuff like that. It's been recommended I talk about my world famous, if you don't know what you're doing, you need the best equipment. Check it out. See you next time.